guys, it's Jen with creativelyhomemade.com. It is getting to be fall here in Ohio, so I am starting to get out my long sleeve shirts and find my jeans and things like that and put away summer gear. So I thought I would make a pretty fall card for you today. This card features sponging on the leaves to give them a really realistic look to them, and I really just like how that turned out. This card was made with the Vintage Leaves stamp set. This is so detailed. I just love all the lines. It's really realistic looking, so I love this stamp set. And then there's also a coordinating leaflets die set, so you can punch or cut out your leaves, and it makes it super easy. So I wanted to show you how to make that today. So let's get started. First thing you want to do is start by cutting all your paper. I like to do my cards and craft projects assembly line style, so I like to do all the cutting at once, all the stamping at once, all the die cutting at once. So you want to start with a piece of crushed curry cardstock, and this is just an 8.5 by 11 piece of paper cut in half, so it's 8.5 inches by 5.5 inches, and it's scored at 4.25 inches. Now if you have a Stampin' Trimmer, you can use it to both cut your paper and to score your paper, so it's always nice when one piece of equipment will do double duty. So I went ahead and scored that, so this is going to be our card base. Then you're going to need a layer of soft suede that is 5.25 inches by 4 inches, and that will be the first layer. Then you're going to need a small little piece of crumb cake cardstock that is 3 inches by 1.5 inches. And then you're going to need some Whisper White cardstock. This is just half of a piece of 8.5 by 11 cardstock, but scraps would work too. Excuse me. So I'm going to move my paper trimmer out of the way. And the other piece of cutting I want to do right now is I'm going to use this triple banner cut punch and fishtail the end of my crumb cake piece of paper. Now I really love this banner punch because it will make 3 different sizes of banners. It makes 1-inch banners, 1.5-inch banners, and 2-inch banners. So that's always nice when you can make one piece of equipment do multiple things. So there's our little cut banner. And now we're going to get started with the stamping. To start with the leaves, and I am using soft suede ink. I'm going to use the 3 biggest leaves from that stamp set. So I'm using the maple leaf and the oak leaf and this one, which I'm not sure of. I think maybe it's a birch leaf, but if you know what that leaf is, you can tell me in the comments. And I'm just inking them up with the soft suede ink, and you need 1 type of each leaf per card. So to the oak leaf here. Okay, and then let me just do the last one. And then I want to also go ahead and do the sentiment. Now you can use whatever sentiment you would like. This would be great for a sympathy card, a thank you card, whatever you want to use. I am just using this colorful season stamp set, and there's a little sentiment that says thinking of you in a script font. So that's what I'm going to use for this one today. So I'm just going to stamp that right in the middle of that banner. And then you can set the banner aside because we're done with that. And you're done with your soft suede ink, so that can be put aside as well. Now you want to go ahead and pull out some ink to do the sponging on your leaves. So I am using today Old Olive, Crushed Curry, and Pumpkin Pie because I think those are really pretty fall colors that remind me of the changing of the leaves. So let's just pull that out, pull your stamped leaves out. And then I have some sponge daubers that I use for the corresponding colors. Now when I get a sponge dauber and I use it for a color of ink, I take a label maker and label on it, so I make sure that I only use this sponge dauber for that color of ink. So let's start with Crushed Curry. just want to put the sponge dabber on the tip of your finger and dab it in the ink a couple of times, and then use a circular motion on your image to kind of sponge it in. And I like using 2 or 3 colors per leaf. It kind of gives it a nice feel of the changing of the colors of the leaves. So this oak leaf I'm going to do 3 different colors on, so I'm just doing the tip of this one in crushed curry, and then this leaf I'm going to do in 2 other colors. Okay, so now that I'm done with that one, I'm going to pull out the pumpkin pie and do that one next. So I'm just going to continue in those circular motions. You want to make sure to cover completely to the outside of the leaf, and you want to kind of blend where the other color ended. Just like so. And you can do a little bit heavier around the edges if you'd like to give it some more shading. Oops, I guess I'm making this one with 3 colors too. Okay, so that's good. Now we're ready to finish it up with Old Olive. And you want to make sure there's no white on the outside of the leaves, because when you cut them out with the die cuts or the dies, it'll leave a thin little border around it. So you want to make sure that no white is showing. Okay, I'm just going to do the last one here real quick. Okay, and so all our leaves are done. Now we're ready to cut them out. Now we are ready to die cut the leaves out, and I am using the Leaflets die set that coordinates with this. So I'm going to just line that up. Now if you have a magnetic plate and your cutting plates aren't warped, then that will work perfectly and it'll stay in place. My cutting boards my cutting plates are starting to get a little bit warped, so I'm just using a little piece of masking tape to hold the dies in place. I love the magnetic plate and I use it all the time, but once your plates start to get old, it doesn't work as well, and I like to get all the use out of my cutting plates that I can before I have to replace them. So the masking tape works for me when that is the case. Okay, so now that's all set up and we are ready to run that through. So you can go ahead and pop those leaf shapes out. See, aren't they really pretty? I love how they're multicolored. The sponging just adds so much to those die cuts. There's the second one. And there's the third one. Now while you have your die cut machine out, also want to go ahead and emboss the first cardstock layer that we cut, the soft suede piece. So you can go ahead and put your multi-purpose plate in. And I'm using a wood grain die embossing plate, but we have a really cool pine wood plank embossing plate that would be really good with this one as well. Whoops, I didn't create my sandwich right. There we go. When you are using an embossing folder, you need your base plate, your multi-use plate or multi-use platform, and then you need one cutting plate, your embossing folder, and then another cutting plate on the top. And it just gives it a nice little texture that will add some interest to your card. All our pieces ready, and we are ready to assemble the card. So you want to go ahead and put your embossed piece down on your card base. And since this has a bit of texture to it, I recommend using Fast Fuse. That will give you a better hold and make sure that it doesn't fall off. So I'm just going to run some Fast Fuse on that and then center it on the card base. Just like so. I really love this wood grain texture. It's very nice for rustic and fall cards. Now next you want to place your leaves. I kind of recommend playing around with the placement before you stick anything down. That way you can know kind of how you want things to look. So I want it kind of like that, I guess. So I'm going to start by adhering the oak leaf to the card. I'm going to put him down in the corner here. And then I'm going to put this one just about right there, I think. Make sure that will... I want to cover up the stems with the banner, so I just want to make sure that when I put the banner down, it'll be covered. And then the last one I'm going to put down is the maple leaf. Okay, and then the only thing left to do is to put down the banner. Now if you want to, you could also kind of sponge around the edges of this. I didn't think to do that before I was finishing this card up, but that would actually help it pop a little bit off your card. I also recommend putting Stampin' Dimensionals on the back of this too. Using a paper piercing tool to remove the backings. It helps a little bit. They're kind of fussy to take the backings off, so you can use a nail too. That would work. Okay, and so I am just going to stick that right there in the corner. And that's all there is to the card. I really, really love how this turned out. Here is the finished card. Super pretty and just great for fall. Like I said, you can change it up and put whatever sentiment you like. You could do a happy birthday card, you could do a sympathy card, whatever card you need. This would be great for any fall occasion. Now I also did make a couple of other versions of this card. This one I have the sentiment on an oval instead of the banner, so it's made similarly, it just has a different shape, so that gives it a different look. And then another thing you could do is to take those same leaf stamps and stamp your own background instead of using an embossing folder. So I just took chocolate chip ink is I believe what I used to stamp the background, and I would stamp it once and then stamp it again without inking it up again, and then that would give you the lighter colors too. And then just put your sponged leaves over top of that, so that just gives that a different look as well, and I kind of like how that turned out. So I hope you have enjoyed this easy handmade fall card tutorial. If you would like to make these cards, the link to all the supplies I used is down in the description box below, so you can get those through those links. And if you enjoyed this, I hope you will subscribe to my channel and give it a thumbs up. Thank you guys so much for watching. Happy crafting!